Welcome to the Maker's Image podcast produced by Crafted Network. My name is Koby Dickenson, and today on the show, I'm sitting down with Preston Wetherington. Our friendship goes way back. He's a great friend who I have seen trust God through various circumstances, through the ups and downs, the mountaintop moments, and the opposite times that he refers to as deserts in his life. He's the founder and CEO of Nifty 50 Solutions, a full-service digital marketing agency based out of Richardson, Texas. Today, you'll get to hear the story of how Nifty 50 Solutions came to be, hear about the type of work they do, and how Preston has taken opportunities to minister to the clients that God has given him. Here is episode 6 of The Maker's Image. Preston, we've been friends for a long time. You got a great story, and I'm excited for us to unwrap that today, talk through that. But thank you for sitting down today in your brand new offices and to talk together. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Why don't we start this off with you telling a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Preston Wetherington. I'm the owner of Nifty 50 Solutions. We're a full-service marketing agency. We're based here in Richardson, Texas, and we work with small and medium-sized businesses all throughout the country, just helping elevate their brands and to help grow their business.
That's good, man. So Nifty 50, what it is today, has not always been what Nifty 50 was. So why don't you give a little bit of the background story, too, just to set up our conversation today?
Yeah, so in a past life, Koby and I used to work together. And we were both at the Southern Baptist Texas Convention. And he was my boss at the time. I was there as the part-time videographer, and we'd picked up some freelance gigs here and there, some weddings, and we were like, you know what, let's turn this into something. Let's turn it into an actual business. So we created Nifty 50 Films, and did some work here and there. Had some fun stories throughout.
Yeah.
Remember the very first job we did? We actually got paid in Sensi.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Man,
so
what a come up.
I know, right? It's my wife and I we bring that up all the time. It's a good reminder. It's like how far you've come in business.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but I remember going on the trip and you pulling out the catalog and be like, "Here's our options. What do we want to get paid in?" You can get one that looks like a candle warmer that looks like a Ranger's helmet. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Dude,
crazy.
Wild stuff. But they're happy with the video.
Yeah,
we made a few bucks from that too. So
yeah, but come a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So around the time that I left the SBTC, I remember we had a conversation, and your heart was really being pulled towards ministry, and it was a really good natural break, and I'm so grateful that we've been able to keep the relationship over the years, because it's been 6 years now at this point. Yeah. I was continuing with Nifty 50 Films, and I realized more and more as I was delivering videos for these clients. They knew that they needed video, but had no idea what to do with the videos.
Yeah, right.
I remember there were some times where I was delivering a video at like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I saw it on Facebook as I was getting ready for bed, like 11:30 midnight. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So at that point I was like, you know what, I need to consult with these clients, because I don't want to see their money go to waste. Yeah. Because if they post in the middle of the night, nobody's going to see it. No. So I was working for a couple of other ministries over the next couple of years, and I really wanted to just really dive deeper into marketing and really help out my video clients. So learned the fundamentals of building websites, learned the fundamentals of like Facebook advertising, and learned about YouTube SEO, and just like really tried to help bring value. I was like, you know what, like there's more to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So January 2020, we transitioned from Nifty 50 Films to Nifty 50 Solutions, offering a range of marketing services, starting out with website design, social media, and advertising. I think we may have offered SEO at the time as well, but just really wanted to hone in and use these marketing services to help out with video.
Yeah.
And then was doing that for the next year, doing it through COVID. And towards the end of 2020, we saw a nice little uptick in work, which was great because I was still working full-time at the time.
Yeah.
And in January 2021, I got laid off from the full-time position. They went to a corporate restructuring, which led to my position being eliminated.
Yeah.
And that was really a huge crossroads moment, and spent a ton of time in prayer, consulting with friends and family, really trying to decide what the path forward is, because 2020, if everybody remembers COVID. It was such a turbulent period. There was so much that was still like up in the air. Like there were still many businesses that hadn't reopened yet. Yeah. So I was like, you know what, do I want to go down this route of really taking my business seriously and going full time with it, or do I go down a perceived route of safety to have like the salary and benefits and all that? And the Lord made it so evident. Even my boss at the time, the one that laid me off, he knew everything about Nifty. He knew what we were doing, and he was like this is your opportunity. You need to take this. You need to take this opportunity and jump on it. So I got laid off on a Thursday, and by that following Monday, I was in the business full time. And we've been incredibly blessed to grow. And we have a team of 4 of us now. We have a really great network of contractors as well. We're in a new office that we just moved into a couple months ago, and we're able to serve clients all over the country. And incredibly blessed by it.
Man, I remember when you called me that weekend, and we're like, so bad news is I got laid up. Good news is Monday's looking really good. Like I remember you calling me with such a you could hear some nervousness in your voice.
Oh yeah.
But you could also hear some real excitement too, because it had been something that you had really considered and prayed about, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
But too, I want to back up, because like what you first mentioned, Nifty 50 being was a special time in our lives. We were both single, young. We had nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it was fun. Like we could get paid in Cincy, and so but the fact of the matter was that was really fun. We built a bond of friendship through all that.
Absolutely.
But then too, like going forward to what you were saying next, of how you were at a crossroads of losing your job at the time, also dealing with the era of COVID. The tension was high, stress was high, and all of that. So I guess what my first question to you about all of this would be, you're handling all this stress of like, man, the unknowns, the, anxiety, all this stuff of like, what am I going to do? I just lost my job. Also, it's COVID, so everybody's laying everybody off.
Yep.
It's a stressful time in our world. And yet you took a step of faith.
Absolutely.
And so that's really what I want our whole conversation to sit around, is that trust that it took to step out in faith and do what you felt God was calling you to. Now fast forward 4 years and know that's what God was calling you to.
Yeah. It's
really fun to look back on that moment now and see all of the things that God has done over the last 4 years, from that first step of faith, stepping out of a really tough time of life. So if you were to describe what that feeling was to step out in that faith and that trust, what was that part like on the backside?
It's a little bit different in that moment compared to like whenever we were doing Nifty 50 films together. Yeah. You mentioned that we were both single and just having fun doing this. Yeah. During that period, got married and really like focusing on my family. And my wife, like, she was working full time, and she was thankfully in a very steady industry. Yeah. So her industry didn't get affected, but I saw it take a much larger toll on her than it did me, because she hadn't been used to any kind of like dramatic job change, and like feeling a little bit of like of an unknown feeling. Yeah. So thankfully, like, I've been through some some deserts.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
put it that way.
Yeah.
And
it's a good way to say that.
yeah. And the Lord has really taught me so much during those times, showing that time and time again He provides, and like God will intentionally close doors.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of waiting and trusting on Him for the right ones to open.
Yeah.
And to really align yourself with His will.
Yeah.
And as stressful as it was, I just felt an overwhelming sense of peace about
Sure.
what was to come.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a very mixed bag of emotions, but
Sure.
I'd say that peace was the overwhelming emotion.
Yeah. Well, and I want to compliment you here as well to say that we're not going to talk about those deserts. We're not going to talk about the years leading up to 2020, but man, people that have known you from the time that I've known you of 2015 until now.
Yeah.
Man, you can't look at Preston Wetherington's life and not say that you trusted God, and that you've ridden through some crazy deserts, man, and
you've walked through me through some of the hardest moments of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Man. Yeah. Well, it's been a joy to be a part of the journey, and now Nifty 50 Solutions has been such a win for you, man. It's
Absolutely.
been such a big thing that not only financially has it been a win for you, but also just feeling like you've got the right shoes on now.
Yeah.
Feeling like you're where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And to see all the clients that you're helping with now too. You've done some crazy projects for Dallas Morning News. We were just talking about a new one for a company that supplies Toyota and other leading industry companies, and it's really cool. So why don't you talk a little bit more about that? Like what is some, like the projects you just did in McAllen? What does that project look like?
Yeah, so they're a manufacturing company, and they do plating for machinery parts.
Yeah.
So we've been doing what we call an outsourced marketing department for them. And with that, we're essentially acting as their in-house marketing department.
Yeah.
An opportunity came up to where we're like, hey, we see this opportunity where we can help out your sales team and really help share the story of your company. Yeah. And we showed them a concept video for another company that's in a similar type of industry.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were all on board for it. They thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So they flew us out to South Texas to their newer manufacturing plant.
Okay.
Spent a day there filming, getting everything that we need, and we were able to produce a really strong brand film for them. And I got to see that video this last week, and it's incredible what y'all are doing. Thank you.
You're again, it's just been a really cool win to see happen. You're filling a good need for a lot of
for sure.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So thank you for sharing that story, kind of telling a little bit about the background. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about how God is a part of all of that and a part of your business structure.
Sounds great.
Do you or your organization need new merchandise or promotional items? Then check out Crowder Concepts. Crowder Concepts is a promotional product distributor selling items like mugs, pins, and t-shirts. These memorable items provide advertisers a better cost per impression than almost every major marketing effort, such as TV, magazines, or the internet. Celebrating 20 years of business, Crowder Concepts' mission is to help you create long-lasting relationships with your clients through the power of promotional products. And it is able to supply you with every possible promotional product from over 3,000 suppliers. Crowder Concepts is a proud sponsor of Crafted Network. Use the keyword crafted when placing your first order for a one-time 10% discount. To learn more, visit crowderconcepts.com.
Okay, before we get back into the story of Nifty 50, the story of what God's doing through your business and all these things, I want to play a quick game with you. We've created this rhythm on the Maker's Image of doing a rapid fire game with each person on the podcast. So today we've got a new game for you to play called Finish the Sentence. Okay. All right. You should be great at this.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. We've known each other for a while, so you should be able to handle it.
Yep.
All right, here we go. So you got 10 of these questions coming to you. Okay.
Yeah.
First one, we'll start off with one that I know you've thought of over the years.
Okay.
If you could have any superpower, you would choose...
Fly.
Fly. Why would you choose that?
Because airfare is expensive.
See, I knew you'd thought through that one. All right, number 2. I have seen every episode multiple times of...
How I Met Your Mother. I have it on. I actually had it on this morning in the office.
See, these are good. You're doing great. Number 3. The best meal I've ever had was...
Ooh.
The best one, man. We've traveled a lot.
I know.
We've had a lot of Tex-Mex places.
Man, I'll tell you what. Definitely El Real down in Houston.
Yeah.
No longer there.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately. I think we've both cried in that restaurant before from how good it was. But I'll tell you what. A close second, Cody and I, a couple of weeks ago, when we were down in South Texas, went to Palenque Grill.
Yeah.
And that was some of the best street tacos I've ever had.
Yeah. Whenever I put the question together, I thought I might as well just say the best Tex-Mex I've ever had was.
Basically, yeah.
I knew that's what we'd probably end up talking about. All right, next one. Number 4. If I won $1 million, the first thing I would buy is...
You know what? There's one thing that I've wanted to get for a while, and I just haven't, is a PS5.
Yeah. Yeah, nowadays you might as well need $1 million to buy.
I know, right? No, we got a
PlayStation.
Switch a couple of years ago and love it.
Yeah.
But whenever it comes to like sports games like Madden or FIFA, having it on a PlayStation or an Xbox is significantly better than a Switch.
Yeah. Number 5. If I could live in any city in the world, I would choose.
Ooh, man, I've been saying this for a while now. Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a little curveball, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is a Dallas boy talking.
I know.
Like you've been here from the get-go.
Oh, I love Dallas. I was thinking anywhere outside of where I currently live.
Yeah.
But, Nashville is very similar to Dallas.
Sure.
You get some mountains there. You get some cold.
Yeah.
And the summers are not
feel
as...
the seasons change.
Yeah, you actually feel the seasons.
Yeah.
And every time I've gone to Nashville and actually just like even gone outside of like the downtown area, I just love it. It is such a beautiful place.
All right, number 6. If I had to give up one of my senses, I would choose...
Ooh.
Which one of the 5 you giving up?
I'm going to go by smell.
Smell.
Okay.
All right, number 7. If I had a time machine, the first place I would go is... It's an interesting question.
It is.
Because it's a time machine.
It's time and location.
So you can go anywhere. Yeah, exactly.
All right, this is super random, but I'd probably want to go back to I think it's like 1955 or something like that, whenever Disneyland first opened.
Oh,
I'd be curious to
choice.
see. I just feel like it'd be fun.
Yeah, and like Disney World back then is not Disney World now.
Exactly.
And whenever they came out with it, it was like...
It was a novel thing.
Yeah, it was like a textbook moment. Like it's going to be forever talked about kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good choice, man. That's good. All right, number 8. If you could change any one thing about a fan's experience at any sport, what would it be?
Ban the wave.
Ban the wave.
It is the number one teller of a boring game.
Yeah, it's true. All right, number 9. If I were stuck in a cartoon world, I would want to be in any cartoon.
I've been enjoying Bluey with my daughter. So.
Oh, wow. You'd be in the Bluey world.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
And dogs are awesome.
And it's something your kid enjoys.
Exactly.
So that's good. Number 10, last one. If I could invent a new ice cream flavor, it would be...
I'm pretty lame when it comes to ice cream, to be
honest.
honest.
Pretty lame?
Yeah. I like chocolate, I like strawberry. Like, I'll combine like chocolate and strawberry.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But
you're getting really
it's
crazy with it.
Yeah, so crazy.
All right. Well, now we know that you would eat plain ice cream in the Bluey world.
Yeah.
And ban the wave all at the same time.
All at the same time.
If you had your choice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for finishing this sentence. That was fun. That was good. All right. So back to our conversation. God has put all these pieces together for you to be where you are today, owning Nifty 50, doing what you're doing. But how does your faith in Him that you rested so surely in to take that step to begin with, how does that faith still come into play with your business now?
Man, it's the center of everything that we do.
Yeah.
As we've grown, I've had various opportunities fall into my lap of different ideas for expanding the business, and we've tested it out, and God has shut those doors so abruptly and clearly.
Yeah.
And whenever I align myself back into really what God's will is for myself and for the business, God opens up so many doors and has opened up so many opportunities. We've grown significantly during those periods. And for me, it just tells me that the Lord wants us to be doing this.
Yeah. And
I've been able to pour into my team, been able to love on them, been able to pour into our clients. And like thankfully we have excellent relationships with the clients that we have. And I've personally been able to walk through some pretty serious stuff with a few of the clients. And these conversations wouldn't have happened if I didn't treat my business like it's my ministry.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and I'm really glad to hear you say that, because earlier you mentioned whenever it became your step that you were going to take, and I felt like ministry was so heavily a part of what my calling was. I thought that was an interesting wording, because I know that what you do at Nifty 50, although it's not Nifty 50 Ministries, it's Nifty 50 Solutions, I know that it's also an avenue for you to minister to people, to minister to your team and minister to your clients. So
I mean, I've had clients share like some really deep, dark stuff that they've been going through, and thankfully I've been able to walk alongside them and minister to them through some pretty dark periods in their life. And like that wouldn't have been the case.
And two, I think this is typically a misunderstanding of entrepreneurship, of owning your own business. Like, people typically look at it like, oh, you're choosing corporate world over ministry, or you're choosing like whenever kids graduate from high school and they're thinking about the path that they're going on, there's typically a line drawn there of, which way are you going to go? If you grow up in a Christian home and you deal with that intersection, to speak. And so I think this is interesting, because I think it's a misunderstanding that being in a corporate world, although you don't work in the full four walls of a church, you're still sitting in an opportunity to minister.
I feel like have the capability of being way more effective here than I would working at a church or standing up on a pulpit. You don't want me doing that. That's a bad idea. But I feel like I have a better opportunity of reaching people for Christ, doing this and loving on the people around me.
You've got a completely different platform here at Nifty that a pastor in a church would not have.
Absolutely.
And it has its own strength in its own ways. And, like the clients, I don't know the story exactly, we don't have to get into that, but whoever the client may be, they may never step foot in a church. And now you have the opportunity to step foot in their place,
Yeah, I mean, I've been able to walk through, just to give a range of things, like marriage problems, through alcohol and substance abuse, and people just struggling to make payroll. And trying to figure out how they're going to pay their employees. And it's like they're going through some really difficult, dark stuff. So having the opportunity to be a light and really building up that relationship to where they have the trust that they can be as transparent with me as they are. And people are they're crying out to be heard. And I always do what I can to make sure that there's an ear to listen.
It makes such a big impact whenever someone like that may not ever step foot in the church, like I said, to reach out, and they are so quick to be heard by someone, and then find out that, oh, this person's a believer. Sometimes that is a much quicker on-ramp to them believing in the God that we so believe in. And rather than someone coming with a business card that is already says, hey, I'm gonna push Jesus on you. It brings it up in a different way, lets guards down in a different way, brings opportunity in a different way.
And I'll tell you what, man, it's difficult. Sometimes it can be very lonely to be a believer in the business world.
And you and I have talked about this. There's like this assumption that entrepreneurship and faith, that it conflicts, and it's such an interesting thought to me, because you're here saying the exact opposite, that it's a breath of fresh air for you to talk about faith with other entrepreneurs. So I just have always thought that that's an interesting thing that people might misunderstand, that they think entrepreneurship is a business-minded, corporate-minded thing, not something that faith can be infused into.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, being in the corporate world, if you're not going to be there, who is?
Right.
So as a believer, it's better to be in it because you have an opportunity to really be a light in a very dark place.
Yeah, that's great, man. And I think that's the focus. I think that's the focus that any entrepreneur should have, is that you stepping into a corporate, quote unquote, corporate role is not you stepping away from a ministry area or from a faith-based opportunity. It's stepping into a completely different opportunity. And
like early on, that was kind of difficult for me because my entire career was in ministry.
Right. Yeah.
So there was definitely a learning curve. It was more so surprising how few believers there were that were that were in a business owner entrepreneur position.
I think that when you step into this role, you're just like anything, you start to understand it from a completely different angle. And knowing you through this process, seeing you put your faith into action has even impacted my look and my view on it, because I've gotten to see it and walk alongside you through that too. So I appreciate you sharing some of that,
of course,
as well. But I appreciate the way that faith is infused into everything that you do. God has opened this door and give this opportunity to you, and you've taken it by storm, man, and you've not left your faith behind. You've let it lead the way, and I appreciate that so much about you. So for those that may be listening right now that are considering starting their own business, that maybe they have started their own business and they're just kind of at that crossroads that you were talking about, like having to understand the learning curve and all of that, what's something that you would share with someone in that seat now when they're stepping out to be an entrepreneur like this?
Completely soak it in prayer. For someone who's considering starting, if you're married, obviously consult with your wife, consult with people that are in your inner circle, that are like-minded people of faith, and have them pray over you, and really just spend some significant time seeking guidance.
That's good.
Find those people, find those allies that are in the business world. One, they're going to pour into you from a faith standpoint and also from a business standpoint. Ask tons of questions. Be constantly aware of the opportunities that are surrounding you, and really seek out, like, hey, is this the route that you want me to go down? The Lord blesses those that are blessing others, and I really believe that to be true in the business world.
Yeah, that's a good word, man. And I'll sit across from this table and be the first one to say that I see that in you. I see that in your business. I see that in your family. And that's exactly why I wanted to sit down with you today, is because I think that's I've said it a couple times now, but I think there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to entrepreneurship. I'm thankful for our conversation today and how it kind of surrounded around all of that. And
likewise.
I appreciate you and the way you walk, man, the way you lead your business, all of this. So before we go, what's a way that people can see your work, see who Nifty 50 is and all of that?
Yeah, so our website is nifty50solutions.com, and if you go to Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or TikTok, you can search Nifty 50 Solutions. We'll be the first one that pops up.
Awesome, man. Well, I will put all that in the show notes as well, so that people can quickly get to your stuff to see it, connect with you, and all that. So
perfect.
Thank you again for your time, buddy. I'm thankful for you.
Likewise.
Thanks for listening to the show today. I hope you leave this episode feeling encouraged and inspired. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the show now and turn on notifications so you don't miss new episodes. To find our other resources or to learn more about Crafted Network, visit craftednetwork.org.